Hello. Okay, making our daily movement count is super important, especially when we're doing the boring stuff of life. I know I've gone through this before, but I actually want to go through it rather than just pretending I have something in my hand. Oh yeah, woohoo, let's get excited. She has a mop, a vacuum cleaner, and a broom next to her. It's important that when you're doing things that we need to do with these items, that you think about the way you're standing and moving. It's really super important. It's all about that functional movement of the body. And by just making a few little changes, we can make it a far less pain-producing activity, because I know these activities can sometimes hamper the lower back, but it's all in the way you stand, in the way you push and you pull. Okay, so up I get. So you just relax yourselves for a moment. This is not something we shall be practicing together. This is just something for you to tuck away, for you to keep in that mind. Okay, so let's go for the broom first. All right. So you'll either use one of these for inside or a large outside broom. It can be quite laborious and quite a back-breaking task. It's fine if you've only got a tiny little area to sweep, but if you have a large area, it's really important that you change your body movement and the way that you are holding that broom. So you do want to keep it close to the body. The more you lean out, the more pressure you're going to put on the lower back. So smaller brushes. Yes, so smaller brushes. What I like to do is after I've swept that way for a little bit, I turn around. So I turn around and then I pull the broom towards me. So if I'm sweeping everything that way, I'll do some this way, I'll turn, and then I'll do some that way. Okay, tiny little steps. See how I am like in a semi-lunge position here? So rather than going and standing like that with the shoulders rounded, this will give you a better opportunity to stand tall and lifted and use the legs rather than the back. So always remember, turn. Do some that way, then turn the body, and then pull the broom towards you. Yep. Turn, brush away, turn, pull it towards you. Okay, and I like to keep those movements small, especially when I'm doing it outside. I actually prefer to use these lighter brushes outside as well. I find the bigger ones just a little bit too cumbersome and hard to handle. I find these smaller ones, it might take a little longer to get the job done, but I just feel more comfortable using a smaller broom. But of course, that's completely up to you on how you feel. All right, so that's sweeping. Now mopping, of course, it depends on what sort of mop you've got. I've gone for one that has got everything in it. So it's got the water, I put my stuff in there. It's got a little squirty thing, so I'm not going to squirt it because I'm on carpet, but I squirt, and then we use this microfiber mop rather than the old plunge or squeeze type. Squeeze type, the ones that you put in the bucket and then squeeze and it flattens it out. I used to find those really hard on the shoulder. This one you don't wring out, you just rip that off and that goes in the washing machine. I am not advertising this particular one, but I do find that these are way easier to use. There's no plunging or washing. You get a spare one of these and I just throw it in the washing machine, wash it, and away we go. Exactly the same. You want to keep it close to the body and you want to stay over the mop. Don't let those arms get too far away from you. You're better off to take those smaller steps and keep the body weight over the mop. That way I can really use my muscles in my upper body rather than using my back muscles, and you don't end up with that leaned over position. So yes, it may take you longer to get the job done. And again, small steps. I like to work through that way and then go backwards. Nice small motions here. I do every now and again change sides. It's going to feel super awkward, but I like to give that side of the body a little bit of a rest. So no matter how much you think about it, you are still going to favour one side. So I do like to swap. It might take you a bit of time to figure out how you hold it. It did for me. I had to look and go, right, I've got that hand there and that hand there, and then transpose it round. Okay, it's going to feel awkward to begin, but give it a go. Give it a go. You can only try. Surely you are not in that much of a rush, apart from the fact you want to get it over and done with, that you can't every now and again change your body posture. You can't do what you did with sweeping and do it backwards. I did try that, but that didn't work at all. But you can swap arms. Keep it small, keep it close to the body, like you do with everything else. Always keep whatever you're working with closer to the body. Never have that arm or that upper body protruding out. That's when you're going to end up putting pressure in the lower back. And it's exactly the same as when we vacuum. Now, I don't know about you, but vacuuming is probably the most hated chore of mine of all. I really don't like these things. Unless you've got, mine is a pretty good one, but still, it still manages to get hooked on everything, and I find it rather annoying, but never mind. It is still a chore of life that must be done. Well, it doesn't have to be, I guess, but we would rather have a clean home. Same as with the mopping, you want to keep your body weight over it. Don't lean out, because as soon as you lean out and do this, it's all in the back. I like to stand over it. I like to use both hands. That way I can use both of my arms to facilitate the move. Look at my legs. I'm going side to side in like a wide squat position, using my tummy muscles to facilitate the move. So I brace through here, same with the mopping, I brace through my belly, and every time I push down with that vacuum cleaner, I'm bracing through here. So whenever you can, by utilising these tummy muscles, that mind-muscle connection, you're going to take pressure off the shoulder and the lower back. So vacuuming. Again, I do try and change sides depending on where I am in the vacuuming, but always standing over small steps. Forward, backward, forward, backward. Take a little bit more time. Don't end up leaning out like that. That's how you end up with that sore lower back, maybe even aggravating of your shoulder. All right, so that's the vacuuming. Let's have a look at our gardening. Again, I know I go over this every now and again in little bits and pieces, but this little segment, I've just popped it all together. Quick reminder, anything where you need to get low is always a wide squat position, always, in varying degrees. The wider you go, the lower you can go. The wider you go, the less pressure on your knees. Remember, you've already surprised yourself with other things. So it's that little bow, it's that slide, it's coming down into that wide squat position, utilising your upper body on the arms to stabilise that when you need to be in this position to, let's say, for example, look in the back of a cupboard. If you need to be in this position for a while, with those arms on the legs, I can't really feel that in the legs. As soon as I take my arms off the legs, the pressure's in those legs again. So by bracing the arms on the legs, you then have the choice to go from side to side, to look into wherever you're trying to get to into the back of that cupboard. My back is neutral. I've got no pressure on my back. I'm only using my quads, my hamstrings, and my glutes to facilitate this move. Always arm on the leg. You will get to the point, once you start to use this all the time, you will get to the point where you'll go up to the cupboard to get something out of it. You'll automatically go into the wide squat position. You'll open the door with one arm will come onto the leg. You'll go in, grab what you want, and up you get, without even thinking about it. Shoes are under the bed, wide squat position. Down you get, shoes, up we come. Always using the muscles rather than the joints to facilitate a simple move. Gardening, wide squat position. Down we come, weeding, trimming. When I get tired in this position, I do one of two things. I either come up, stand up, stretch up, open up, or I do this. I stay in my wide squat position, I put my hands on the floor, and I straighten out through the back and the arms, and I let my head hang. And I stay there for a little bit of time, just to give the legs a little bit of a rest. Hands on the ground, one leg on, one arm rather on, the other arm on. And I continue weeding. Or you may be working on something here. When you are doing a large job in your yard, pick 3 things to do at different levels. Work low, medium, high, and then rotate through. Don't stay in the same position for too long. This is where we come unstuck. I know that you've done this. You hear the voice in the back of your head going, if you stay in this position for too long, you are going to end up with a sore back or shoulder or whatever it may be. But you end up staying there. I've not got much to go, you say to yourself. And then you go to stand up and you're in absolute agony. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. Pick what you're going to do. Plan what you're going to do. You need to do that now you're a little older. You can't just go about life as you used to. A little bit more planning, a little bit more thought means exercise opportunity and less pain in the body. It makes sense. Making your bed. As you know, I've done a special segment on this, but again, it's that wide squat position. I'm not going to go into this in detail because we will do that separately on its own. Wide squat position. I put one arm on the leg. I use this arm to lift the bed ever so slightly and then tuck the sheet under and up I come. If I need to lift the bed, it's only ever so slightly, utilising that arm on the leg and using the legs as the up-down lever rather than the arms as that lifting lever. So you're thinking about always utilising the lower part of the body to facilitate the move rather than the strength in the upper body. No matter what you are doing, no matter what you're lifting, pushing or pulling, quick note, shoulder blades. You must tuck them in to get full strength in the lower body. If you stay in that rounded position, when you go into that squat, you don't have the same strength and control over the muscles as you do when you tuck the shoulder blades in. Picking up something heavy, picking up a wiggly grandchild. Picking up a wiggly grandchild. You know how they do that and make themselves long and make it very difficult because they don't want to be picked up. They do all sorts of things. Again, it's a wide squat position. Child is on the floor in front of you. Bow, slide, bend. Make sure that the child is here. Pick the child up, brace your arms against your legs, elbows in, arms under your hands under their armpits. Use your legs, keep them close. Use your legs, keep them close. Keep whatever you are lifting close to the body. Bring it in, keep it close. Lifting with a long arm lever will hurt your shoulder. As soon as you bring the elbows in, you're braced through your belly, you're using your biceps rather than the shoulder joint. It's all about changing the way you do things. So that wide squat position to lift, to weed, to pretty much do anything. Dishes in and out of the dishwasher, and I've gone through it before, washing in the washing machine, wide squat position every time, whenever you need to get low. We've gone through pushing, pulling and lifting separately, but this is a little different. This is using your functional movement that I've taught you in classes to go do the boring stuff of life. If you are using heavier tools, like hedge trimmers and things like that, again, trying not to have that longer lever with you leaning out, trying to brace, have the elbows in, and bracing the elbows against the body will stop your arms and your shoulders from getting so sore. Same thing when you're using that hedge trimmer. It means you're going to need to get a little closer. If you're going up high, that's a little different. I do advise you to be cautious, especially if you have to go on a ladder. Don't do it on your own. Make sure your partner is there to hold that ladder. Don't take the chance. It's about assessing a risk and going, right, this just isn't worth it. I'll just wait until my partner's home to do that particular thing. Really important you start to think that way. So any tool, again, try and have it braced in with the body. You are asking for an injury to have something out in that longer lever, especially when you're doing maybe a larger job using a larger, heavier tool of some description. Okay, well that pretty much covers all the basic stuff of life that we may do. So I hope you picked up some handy tips from that. Now all you have to do is you now need to put them into practice. Pretty please. I hope you enjoyed that, everyone. Make sure you press that subscribe button on your screen so you don't miss a thing. I'll see you in our next session.